The Odyssey, an absolute monolith in the world of lasting texts and pieces of masterpiece. When it comes to the classics, you might think of Shakespeare, Frankenstein, the Divine Comedy, or Don Quixote, and, of course, Homer's The Odyssey. This epic poem, presumably written by the blind poet Homer and sequel to the Iliad, has inspired hundreds of stories, tales, shows, books, and movies, to this day, for its exceptionally written account of Greek mythology, culture, and beliefs. It follows Odysseus on his 20-year-long journey home after the Trojan War. Homer cleverly crafts a deep world throughout trials where Odysseus and his crew must escape gods and divine creatures, typically through sheer wit and skillful manipulation. Throughout the story, Odysseus is referred to as the Lord of Lies, Master of Trickery, Wanderer of the Sea, and this is Monkey D. Luffy, a man whose body turned to rubber after eating a magical devil fruit. Eiichiro Oda's One Piece, a story so silly and ridiculous you may think it's incomparable to a text like the Odyssey, and, well, yes, but it also contains embedded values which prove itself as something much larger than just some goofy manga about pirates. It follows Luffy, captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, on his journey to becoming king of the pirates by finding the legendary treasure, the One Piece. It's a story about freedom, unity, and liberation, corruption, authoritarianism, and mystery, which has slowly been unfolding over 28 years. So, it begs the question, is One Piece an appropriation of the Odyssey? Yet, at first glance, One Piece and the Odyssey couldn't be more dissimilar. One is a silly anime manga series and the other an ancient Greek epic poem. However, it's important to note that the Odyssey wasn't always this great text which students write essays on. During its conception as an oral story, its primary purpose was entertainment, and for this, whether people in ancient Greece believed it or not, the Odyssey is plenty ridiculous itself. It includes bags full of wind, men turned into pigs, mythological monsters like cyclopses or sirens, and, of course, various gods. Many of these aspects have been paralleled in One Piece: wind owls, devil fruits, monsters such as sea kings, and, of course, gods. Enel, user of the lightning fruit that gives him the ability to create and control lightning, directly mirrors gods, notably Zeus, for his immense power and status above the citizens of Skypiea. The celestial dragons, who are world nobles, seemingly above the law, are also symbolic of gods or a higher power. Furthermore, both One Piece and the Odyssey follow a noble hero on a long and dangerous journey across the seas, who is fated to reach an ultimate goal. The disassociation between the two texts can be attributed to the dramatic difference in media type, context, and time period, as, in reality, the ridiculousness and size of One Piece is the very reason it can be viewed as an appropriation, rather than in opposition of it. Thematically, One Piece represents the importance of freedom and the unity of people who deserve liberation from tyrannical or corrupt authorities. This is communicated not only through abhorrent villains such as Doflamingo or Orochi, but also through corruption of the Navy and world government. This is first hinted at with the first antagonist of the entire series, Captain Morgan, who abuses his power as a Navy captain against the citizens of Shellstown. The Seven Walls of the Sea also reflect this value, where notorious pirates are authorized by the world government to do as they like under the Navy. The theme of corruption is further solidified, notably in Enies Lobby, with the introduction to the island of archaeology, O'Hara. O'Hara was home to the scholars who studied poneglyphs, ancient stones inscribed with text that reveals the lost history of the world. Fearing that they would uncover the truth, the government launched a Buster Call, which is an attack aimed to annihilate everything and everyone on an island. Nico Robin was the sole survivor of this incident and escaped with the Navy putting a 79 million berry bounty on her head at just 8 years old. This dramatic event exposes the government's deep corruption, as they are willing to destroy knowledge and innocent lives just to maintain control and suppress truth, thus positioning the audience to align with Luffy and the Straw Hats, who fight for the liberation of everybody. Most arcs display some conflict with the Navy and government, which expand on this concept in diverse ways. The fan-favourite Dressrosa, the Island of Love, Fairies and Living Toys, is ruled by Don Quixote Doflamingo, a warlord of the sea, user of the string fruit and underground broker for artificial devil fruits. Soon it's revealed that the living toys on the island are actually the result of another devil fruit power, which holds the ability to turn people into toys, erasing their existence by removing people's memory of them. These toys are then forced to live with their own families who don't remember their existence, or, for better or worse, work as a slave in Doflamingo's factories. Eventually, Luffy takes down Doflamingo using the immense strength of Gear 4, a power utilising the elasticity of his rubber body and the hardness of Haki, to bounce, fly, and deal devastating punches, leading to the liberation of the residents of Dressrosa from the evil tyrant and rescue of the people trapped as toys. Luffy's takedown of Doflamingo is symbolic of him rebelling against a god, not only because Doflamingo holds immense power, but he also is a world noble who believes himself to be above all others. This is a consistent theme shown in various arcs. There's also a dynamic between Luffy and Odysseus, where one solves conflict through sheer strength and battle, and the other through cunning intelligence. This reflects the concepts that each character stands for, Luffy being freedom and Odysseus being compliance. The Navy knows of Doflamingo's criminal actions, however turn a blind eye due to his status as a warlord. This of course further develops the notion of corruption in government. Admiral Fujitora is one of the few Marines who aim for true justice and to expose the government's corruption. After Luffy defeats Doflamingo, Fujitora acts as a secondary antagonist to capture Luffy. However, after an intense fight, the citizens of Dressrosa run into the battlefield, preventing Fujitora from using his attacks, thus helping Luffy in his escape. He reflects,
"You're a fool, Straw Hat, but an honest one. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that everyone wants to take your side. What kind of a man are you, I wonder? What's the color of your hair, the shape of your eyes? What does your smile look like? What a pity. Wish I could use these eyes one last time to see the face of a man like you. I'm sure it's filled to the brim with kindness."
This speech creates a surreal atmosphere which contrasts the characterization of the Navy. Fujitora's goal is true justice, and he recognizes the illogical nature that Luffy, a pirate, is the savior of Dressrosa instead of the Navy. Oda skillfully shows Fujitora's motives to create depth to the themes of corruption in the Navy. Additionally, Luffy being referred to as a fool, but an honest one, symbolizes his character as a reckless person, though seeking freedom and liberation for everybody. The rhetorical questions asking for a description of Luffy are also symbolic of this, as Luffy's signature smile is a key part of his character to communicate his beliefs and personality. The embedded value found in Dressrosa heavily juxtaposes with Odyssey and Odysseus as a parallel to Luffy. Luffy symbolizes freedom and rebellion against authority, showing that unified people can take them down. However, in opposition to this, Odysseus represents the notion that people were bound by fate and authority. As Poseidon mentions to Zeus in Book 13, "I always said Odysseus would reach home in the end. I did not take away that privilege from him. No, not at all." Poseidon, the main antagonist to Odysseus, confesses that Odysseus was always bound to complete his journey, though he still aims to unleash his wrath against the Phaeacians who helped Odysseus. Contrast is produced through this, where Odysseus is characterized as a hero who was fated to reach Ithaca, though the gods still hold the power to murder others and make his journey treacherous and fueled with blood. This is mirrored with One Piece, where Luffy symbolizes liberation and rebellion against gods, and Odysseus symbolizes the compliance and powerlessness in relation to the gods. Further, this reflects the values and satiety for each text. One Piece is a modern critique on the real-life government and dictatorship of the world, and the Odyssey as a representation for ancient Greek society who respect gods and divinity, believing that harmony, justice, and fate are upheld through obedience. Constantine P. Cavafy's poem titled Ithaca depicts Odysseus' journey home not about the destination, but through the purpose and joy of the journey. It opens with the lines, "As you set out for Ithaca, hope the voyage is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery." The muse is not only talking to Odysseus, but also us. It displays the idea that life, symbolized through Odysseus' journey, is not about the destination, but the importance of the journey, where we make our own decisions. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you're destined for. But do not hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years. This depiction of the Odyssey highlights the theme of the journey. Though it was Odysseus' goal to return home, it's the epic 20-year-long journey which we remember and discuss to this day. Similarly, in Sabaody Archipelago, the Straw Hats meet Silvers Rayleigh, the right-hand man of the King of the Pirates, Gol D. Roger. Once this is revealed, Robin immediately asks about the mysterious Void Century, to which Rayleigh replies, "Yeah, we know. However, don't be hasty. Please push forward with your ship one step at a time. Perhaps we, as well as O'Hara, were too impatient. If I were to tell you the entire history right now, it's not like you could do anything. After you've taken your time to see the world, maybe the conclusion you reach will be different from what we found." Robin accepts this before Usopp interrupts asking about the legendary treasure, the One Piece. Luffy then interrupts him. "I don't want to hear where the treasure is, or whether there is a treasure or not. I don't know anything about it. That's why everyone sets out to sea to find out themselves. If Rayleigh told us anything here, then I'd quit right now. If we were going to have a boring adventure like that, then I'd rather die." Rayleigh responds, "Can you do it? Can you conquer it?" Luffy responds to this, "I don't want to conquer anything. It's just that the person with the most freedom on the sea is the Pirate King." This interaction not only is extremely symbolic of Luffy's character, that he sees the Pirate King not as someone who conquers the sea, but someone who frees it, but also emphasizes the importance of the journey, similar to how Cavafy's Ithaca illustrates. Do not hurry the journey at all, better if it lasts for years. This beautifully mirrors Luffy's blunt exclamation that he would rather die than go on a boring, spoiled adventure. This creates a sense of awareness through suggesting the sheer importance of the journey rather than the destination. One Piece effectively portrays this idea as a mirror image of Cavafy's Ithaca. What would becoming King of the Pirates mean if islands weren't liberated, secrets weren't uncovered, and the government wasn't rebelled? It's greatly symbolic of the message of One Piece and the Odyssey, highlighting the notion to the readers and viewers of the stories. From the basic plot to the embedded values, they perfectly mirror each other to represent societal values and the context of each text, upholding themes of fate, authority, freedom, liberation, and, of course, the journey. So, in conclusion, is One Piece an adaptation of the Odyssey? Yes.